Okay, after I have an object inside Maya, and I've done basically everything that I want to do to it as far as modeling goes, what I can do and what I need to do before I send this over to Substance Painter is delete the history and freeze the transforms. So I'm going to pull this up here so we can see these couple nodes, and I can also do this, remember, in the node editor. So in the node editor, basically I don't only have one thing in here, but I could clear that, select the crate, map all the nodes so you can see everything that's happening. So a lot of things happening on this specific object. So that maps all of those. Or if I just want to see, maybe a little bit less, I can do inputs or just inputs and outputs or just inputs. So let's go ahead and do edit, delete by type, history. Now the history has been deleted, so you can see now there's nothing over here. And you can see this has a value, a translate value for y of basically not 0. So if we want to zero that out, make sure that this object is placed at the bottom, and I think that value was 13 for mine at least. Yours might be a different value. Excuse me. But just make sure it's placed down there at the home grid. Now, if we want to move the pivot of this, we can do that now as well. So to move this pivot, if we double click that move tool, you can see we do edit pivot. Or the shortcut for this is D as in Dave. And then we can just move this pivot down. Now we don't have anything to snap to yet, but if we hold down V as in Victor, we can actually snap to the bottom of the crate here. Now, if I mess this up at any point and the pivot gets moved, I can right click over top of the pivot, right click and hold, and to reset pivot position. So now the pivot point has been reset. I'm going to turn off my grid here. I'm just going to move this down and then hold V. As in Victor, you can see that basically turns on the point snaps. So now you can see this is snapping to a point here, which is basically almost an imaginary point in this case because there's no area underneath that. So it's actually, kind of a hollow area that is snapping to, but that's perfect for this because now I know that that will be at the bottom. So you can see now that definitely will be at the bottom of that grid. So now if I want to make sure that it's truly at the bottom, I can turn on my grid snaps and I can snap the crate fully to the bottom there. Okay. And if I want to make sure that's zeroed out, I could move that to the 0 position here. Now I know that that's zeroed out. But again, mine was about up here with a value of, I thought it was, I think it's a value around 13. Yep. Now I want to zero this last number out here before I actually export this out. This crate. So I'm going to do edit, delete by type history, just to make sure everything's gone, and then modify, freeze transforms. Now this object is essentially, whoops, I actually did not center that up all the way. So I can still move this. Now I think I'm centered. Whoops, no, I'm still not centered. There we go. Now I'm centered, and you can see now the grid matches up. So I did have a couple adjustments to do there. But anyway, just do edit, delete by type history, we already did that, and then modify, freeze transforms. I always just do those back to back. So there's never a time that I'm just doing one, I'm always doing both, that way I know that the object's all cleared.